Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching The Nation at 5. I'm Anusha Soni. Our top focus this hour. The Enforcement Directorate is in action and the case that we're talking about is a high-profile investigation against an online betting scandal. 417 crore rupees of money trail that the Enforcement Directorate had seized earlier, and now actor Ranbir Kapoor has been summoned by the agency on the 6th of October. The actor will depose before the agency, respond to the questions that the Enforcement Directorate has for the actor, and more importantly, Ranbir Kapoor was involved in online promotions and various other promotional activities that were conducted for this particular application/website. Now, moving forward, sources indicate that there are various high-profile names who have been in some capacity involved with the promoters and the owners of this particular application who could be under the radar of the investigation agency, especially the Enforcement Directorate. What exactly this trail is about? How has this investigation gone on so far? And why are the actors who were only involved in the promotional activities have been summoned by the agencies? Let's take you through some pointers one by one. This betting app is suspected to have links in Pakistan. Various Hawala operators have been working, that's what sources indicate, at the behest of this particular application. As I said earlier, 17 Bollywood celebrities are under the scanner. The names will be revealed in the times to come. Some of them already, through source-based information, are on record. These celebrities performed at Chandrakar's wedding. He's one of the founders of this application. Celebrities accepted a huge amount of cash. Now, if you get a certain amount of income and you pay taxes on it, that's fine. But if you've got a cash and you've not revealed it as your income, that's a problem. They're liable for taking money as remuneration, whether it was legal, whether it was illegal, whether this was something that can be covered under the investigation, it's a wait and watch. Prima facie, all of this is being investigated at this point in time. And this is something that CNN News 18 had already reported back in September, this particular scandal which was under the radar. Now, this particular application employs call centers for clients. As per Enforcement Directorate, the nexus runs much deep. This is routed via Netherlands, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and most of these gambling and betting websites, when they go for these kind of nexus, it's usually a transnational nexus that runs in. Customers receive a WhatsApp number and mostly the transactions are conducted through Hawala channels. These are details which have been shared with panel operators here in India as well, and all these particular nexus that has come in, or the connections that have emerged, are under the scanners right now. Operators are based primarily in Mumbai and Delhi, and all these operators have been raided by the Enforcement Directorate. They initiate transaction with the customers. As I said earlier, it's a money laundering investigation, and Hawala operations is the key word here to watch out for. For the Enforcement Directorate, the most important thing going to be is, moving forward, is to establish that money trail. The promoters, the people who founded this website, are of course the key suspects, but whether there were celebrities who knew what the website was doing or this application was doing and still continued their association with it is a wait and watch. The more details emerging. Money was diverted to fake bank accounts. Customers get about 60% of the amount paid, 40% of the amount is invested, and 30% of the money is routed back to the application. So it's kind of a quid pro quo. A lot of Chinese applications earlier, and these were loan applications, were earlier involved with the same modus operandi, and they had the kind of links we're talking about. China, Pakistan, these are the countries that we're looking at. My colleague Shankar Anand and Yesha are joining us on the broadcast, getting us more details on the story. Shankar, सबसे पहले आपके पास आएंगे. दिल्ली पुलिस के सूत्रों से इस समय क्या जानकारी मिली है? रणबीर कपूर को तो समन किया ही गया है, और भी कई बहुत बड़े-बड़े नाम इसमें सामने आ सकते हैं.
देखिए अनुसार, इस वक्त में मैं केंद्रीय जांच एजेंसी ईडी मुख्यालय पे हूं, और ईडी मुख्यालय के जो हमारे सूत्र बताते हैं कि इस मामले में तकरीबन 1 दर्जन से ज्यादा ऐसे लोग हैं जिसका वास्ता सीधे तौर पे बॉलीवुड से है, और इसके साथ साथ कई हवाला कारोबारी भी जांच एजेंसी के रडार पर हैं। जिस तरह से इस मामले में 15 सितंबर को ही हमने खबर ब्रेक किया था, उस वक्त में इस मामले में बताया था कि किस तरह से कई बॉलीवुड सितारे जो हैं वो जांच एजेंसी के रडार पर हैं। और यहां पर सवाल उठता है कि आखिर ये बॉलीवुड सितारे जांच एजेंसी के रडार पर क्यों आए। तो इस मामले पे सबसे पहले मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि इस मामले पे जो एक महत्वपूर्ण जो एफआईआर रजिस्टर किया गया था और जो केस को टेक ओवर किया गया था वो उसका वास्ता जो है छत्तीसगढ़ से जुड़ा। छत्तीसगढ़ से जुड़े हुए ईडी के अधिकारी ने एक इन्वेस्टिगेशन प्रारंभ किया था और वो था महादेव ऐप, जो एक ऑनलाइन सट्टा कारोबार वाला जो ऐप एप्लीकेशन है, उससे जुड़े हुए इन्वेस्टिगेशन स्टार्ट किया। और उसी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में कई महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी निकल के सामने आई और उसी के आधार पर यह पता चला कि कई ऐसे बॉलीवुड के जो सितारे हैं, बॉलीवुड में काम करने वाले जो लोग हैं, उनका भी कनेक्शन इसमें मामले में जुड़ा। दरअसल जो ऑनलाइन सट्टा कारोबार को चलाने वाले जो कई आरोपी हैं, जो विदेश में बैठ के, खासतौर पर दुबई में बैठ करके वहां से सट्टा कारोबार को चलाते हैं और अपने उस एप्लीकेशन के प्रमोट करने के लिए, अपने बहुत सारे कार्यक्रम को प्रमोट करने के लिए, यहां तक कि बर्थडे और शादी जैसे कार्यक्रम में भी प्रमोट करने के लिए वहां पर बॉलीवुड से जुड़े हुए कई सितारों को बुलाते थे और उनको अच्छा खासा फंड दिया जाता था। करोड़ रुपए की नकदी दी जाती थी। आलीशान तरीके से उनको पार्टी में बाकायदा उनकी मौज मस्ती करवाई जाती थी। प्राइवेट विमान जो है उसको बुक किया करके अलग अलग जगहों पर लेके जा करके उनको एंजॉय करवाते थे। तो इस तरह के कई इनपुट्स निकल के आए और इसी मामले में जब इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया गया तो कई जो सितारे हैं जिन्होंने पैसे लिए और उन आरोपियों के लिए काम किया, चाहे वो बॉलीवुड से जुड़े हुए कई जो सेलिब्रिटी हैं, जो उनके कई बर्थडे पार्टी में पहुंचे, कोई शादी की पार्टी में पहुंचे, यहां तक कि जो मुख्य आरोपी है उसकी शादी पार्टी में भी कई बॉलीवुड सितारे पहुंचे थे। तो किस तरह से पूरा पैसों का लेन देन हुआ, किस तरह से मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के पैसे से मौज मस्ती हुई है, अब ये मामला भी अब जांच एजेंसी के रडार पर है। लिहाजा इस मामले की गंभीरता को देखते हुए
शंकर, आने वाले समय में ये होगी कि ये सारे पैसे जो लिए गए, इसमें गैर कानूनी कितना था, कौन सी ऐसी पेमेंट्स थी जो बिल्कुल लीगल थी, एक लीगल एंगेजमेंट था या प्रोफेशनल एंगेजमेंट था, और वर दीज सेलिब्रिटीज they were aware of the kind of hawala nexus this application was running. Arunima will give us more perspective on it. Arunima, surely going by the investigation and the due process at this point in time, give us a broad perspective of where the investigation stands right now. Legally, in what capacity Ranbir Kapoor or other high-profile names can be summoned?
Can be summoned because they are beneficiaries out of this betting racket. The charge against them is that the money that was paid to them was proceeds of crime. We do not know what was the exact amount paid to them, but we do know that in case of Ranbir Kapoor, for example, he promoted the betting app on social media, he endorsed it as well, and in return of that endorsement, he was paid in either cash or in terms of some other way. What was this way? That is what ED wants Ranbir Kapoor to answer. They also want him to answer if he was aware that this was ill-gotten wealth, this was proceed of crime. Why did he accept payment which was not through proper banking channels? So these are all questions that Ranbir Kapoor will have to answer. Since there are allegations that this was fraudulently being operated, the betting app, and it is based in UAE. So if you see the way in the past betting investigations have proceeded, betting have gone very hand in hand with anti-India activities, even terror conspiracies, and there is a UAE angle too. So the establishment here is very that is this only about betting, is this only about money laundering, or there is an anti-India angle to it as well, and that makes it even that much more sinister. But since this Bollywood A-listers, influencers, sportspersons, they have all been paid by these betting app promoters, they will be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate, and depending on their answers, the next course of action legally will be taken by the ED.
Yasha Kotak is also joining us live. Yasha, any word from the PR team of Ranbir Kapoor, anything that he has said out, officially, unofficially? And even earlier we have seen that various Bollywood celebrities were questioned, but that time it was the Narcotics Control Bureau and that was a different investigation. But yet again, Ranbir Kapoor has been summoned, and even in this investigation what emerges is that various other high-profile names could be summoned by the Enforcement Directorate.
So yes, as of now, of course, there's a confirmation from ED that he's been summoned for October 6th. As of now, neither Ranbir Kapoor nor his team have really responded to this very statement that has been that's actually coming from ED. However, when you speak of the investigation, like we've spoken of how there was a parallel investigation that NCB was conducting a few years back, wherein there were several Bollywood A-listers who were questioned by them. However, at that time, it also seen that there were several people who were managers who were linked to the companies which were managing these actors. They were summoned. A similar kind of a case investigation can follow in this Mahadev app case, because here When you speak of the amount that all of these actors had received, there were also managers who were looking after their accounts. Apart from that, we've also seen there are 7 people such as Vaibhav Verma who have already been questioned by Enforcement Directorate before this. Some of these names have in fact been spilled as a part of that questioning, which is where we understand that summons would be issued to some of these A-listers. When you speak of this investigation here, not only the Bollywood actors and A-listers, but Tollywood actors, apart from that also sportsmen, they could also be summoned in this case. Similarly, parallelly, we will also see managers of these people being summoned, because here it was all about managing their profile. When you speak of how these proceeds of crime have actually come into these actors, these were in fact social media advertisements that some of these celebrities were a part of, and it was then the amount that Mahadev app received as a part of the entire proceeds of crime, which was then paid to them, paid to these celebrities as their remuneration. Yes.
All right, I want to once again cut across to my colleague Shankar Anand. He is also at the Enforcement Directorate office. Shankar, आपके पास और क्या जानकारी है, मैं बताइए.
देखिए, इस वक्त मैं एक और महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी देना चाहूंगा. जिस तरह से ईडी मुख्यालय से हमारे सूत्र हमें जानकारी दे रहे हैं कि एक इवेंट कंपनी के बारे में जिक्र कर रहे हैं, उस इवेंट कंपनी का जो हवाला कारोबार से भी एक कुछ कनेक्शन निकल के सामने आ रहा है, जिसमें कंपनी का नाम मैं बताना चाहूंगा मेसर्स R1 इवेंट प्राइवेट लिमिटेड. जो योगेश पोपट नाम के जो एक शख्स है, जो आरोपी है, जो इस मामले में जिसकी तलाश हो रही है, इस मामले में काफी प्रमुख तौर पे इससे जुड़े हुए तमाम इन्वेस्टिगेशन को आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा है, तो उससे जुड़ा हुआ जो ये मामला है और उससे मामले में इस कंपनी का नाम सामने आया और तकरीबन 112 करोड़ रुपए का हवाला ट्रांजैक्शन जो किया गया है, उस इसी महादेव ऐप और ऑनलाइन सट्टा कारोबार से जुड़ा हुआ मामला है. तो 112 करोड़ का जो हवाला ट्रांजैक्शन का जो इनपुट्स है वो जांच एजेंसी को मिला है. और इस मामले में पिछले कुछ समय पहले जब सर्च ऑपरेशन को अंजाम दिया जा रहा था, उस वक्त में 112 करोड़ का ये जो हवाला ट्रांजैक्शन से जुड़े हुए तमाम जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स और तमाम इनपुट जो है वो जांच एजेंसी के रडार पर आया और काफी महत्वपूर्ण सबूतों को इकट्ठा किया गया. तो 112 करोड़ का हवाला कारोबार जो हुआ है, वो पैसा किनको गया है, किस तरह से पहुंचाया गया और वो पैसा पहुंचाने का मेन मोटिव क्या था. तो ये जो एक महत्वपूर्ण जो सबूत और महत्वपूर्ण इनपुट जो है जांच एजेंसी के हाथ में लगा है, निश्चित तौर पे इस मामले पर कई लोगों की मुश्किलें बढ़ सकती हैं. और जैसे जैसे इस मामले में तफ्तीश का दायरा आगे बढ़ता जाएगा, कई लोगों की मुश्किलें बढ़ने वाली हैं. और खासतौर पर जिस तरह से कंपनी का नाम आया है मेसर्स R1 इवेंट प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, जिसका वास्ता योगेश पोपट से है और ये होटल बुकिंग और इसके साथ साथ उससे जुड़े हुए कई ऐसे जो कारोबार हैं उस मामले में भी इनके इन्वॉल्वमेंट है. इसके साथ ही एक मिथिलेश नाम के शख्स का नाम भी इस मामले में सामने आया है, जो एक सोची समझी साजिश के तहत एक मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग के जो मामले में उसकी जो भूमिका रही है उसको खंगाला जा रहा है. तो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है कि 112 करोड़ का जो हवाला कारोबार का जो मामला यहाँ पे निकल के सामने आया है, हवाला के जरिए 112 करोड़ रुपया किन किन लोगों को दिया गया है, ये अब जांच एजेंसी इस मामले की पड़ताल में जुट गई है और इस मामले में कई बड़े खुलासे जल्दी देखने को मिल सकता है.
बहुत सारे बड़े खुलासे मिलेंगे जैसे कि आपने कहा. थैंक यू शंकर आनंद. अरुणिमा एंड माय कॉलीग यश आर रिपोर्टिंग ऑल दोस डिटेल्स, गेटिंग us different perspectives. This investigation by the Enforcement Directorate will continue to remain our top focus. Let's also get you some latest news coming in, and this is coming in from Pakistan, where the caretaker government and the Interior Minister have taken an important decision. This is about one document policy for Afghans, and there is a plan for mass deportation of various Afghan refugees who are living in Pakistan right now. Now, this is a call that has been taken by the caretaker government. While many would question the human rights angle to it, and why would the neighbouring country of Pakistan, which has often lectured India on human rights, would take a position like that? And the fact that the caretaker government has taken this position, what are the essential ramifications of this particular move? It is believed that mostly Afghans will be targeted in this campaign, which is set to begin from the 1st of November. This one document policy for Afghans to be implemented. Joining us on the broadcast is Anand Narasimhan, giving us more perspective on the story. Anand, what does this one document policy really mean? Is it specifically for Afghans or largely has ramifications for them?
Well, this is something, Anusha, good evening, and to our viewers. This has been something which has been a practice since the British times, because on either side of the Durand line, you had a lot of the Pak or the Afghan tribes who had their people. And that's why they would have a pass, which would be like a document which would allow them to float between Afghanistan and Pakistan. But it was supposed to be only in that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region, and that too in and around the Durand line. But for long, both nations have been now talking about a one document policy. In fact, outside of the Chaman border, the other border which these two nations have, already this one document or a valid visa policy is on. It's the Chaman border which actually has the largest amount of traffic of Afghan locals who are coming and going into Pakistan. But over a period of time, there has been a huge amount of misuse of this. That's what Pakistan claims, that misuse, because the Afghans have been moving around here and there. But what stands out at this point is that they believe that the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan can be curtailed because of the troubles that are happening. The entire Pashtun Tahaffuz movement, the student movement which started there, a political movement calling for the independence of that entire Pakhtunistan region. The Afghan tribes which are there on that the Pashtuns saying that you should not recognize this Durand line. So these civic issues were something which was troubling the Pakistanis, and that's why now they're going to tell, and this will have an impact of on nearly 1.7 million Afghan population, which will perhaps now be forced to now apply for valid visas or single document for them to come into Pakistan. This is not going to be taken very easily, because that Chaman border repeatedly finds these kind of protests where women, children, people, youngsters, students have been protesting because of the high-handedness of the Pak military and the rangers in that area, and them not being allowed to interact with the tribes. So this is not going to settle. This is at a time when Pakistan is going through a huge amount of political turmoil, and this largely looks like a military measure rather than the civilian government's measure. Because right now the current caretaker Prime Minister openly has said that he's hand in glove with the military, and he's there because of the military establishment. This seems to be the military's way to try and curb the movement of the TTP. But one has to wait and see whether it yields the desired fruit as far as the Pakistanis are concerned, or will this further rile up the Afghans, who will now perhaps openly back these elements against the Pakistan military.
Thank you so much, Anand, for that exhaustive analysis. Joining us on the broadcast is an expert, Mr. Ravinder Sachdev is joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Sachdev, how do you see this one document that has been put out by Pakistan? As my colleague was also pointing out, it has its own history to it. International and more importantly, the domestic sentiments which are involved. And it comes at a time when Pakistan internally is going through a political turmoil. Your assessment?
Thank you so much. It is political grandstanding, I mean, sure, they're basing it on the fact that, 14 out of the last 20 suicide bombings or so in Pakistan were carried out by illegal Afghan refugees or whichever way. But that's just, a layer of a topper. It's grandstanding. It's kind of trying to build up inside the country also sentiment, and also convey the global image also. You see, in this day and age, when world leaders are taking drastic decisions, right, left, right, immediate impasse, India today said 40 diplomats outside of everything. The world is heading in that direction. So Pakistan has taken this step, I think, in that spirit, or with that sense, Pakistan government also can take some big, bold decisions. It's grandstanding.
It's grandstanding, as you argue. What are the internal ramifications for this on Pakistan? As I said earlier, the context of this is it's a caretaker government. It's also a government which is largely seen as hand in gloves with the military establishment. There is reasonable economic and political turmoil to it. And in the midst of all of this, a decision like this is taken, which is largely going to affect the Afghan refugees. What are the regional aspirations? Are there regional aspirations which are responsible for a decision like this?
No, there are, the regional factors or regional frictions are there between Pakistan and Afghanistan, right? Pakistan says that, from the Afghan border, terrorists for them come in and, sow terror in Pakistan. So that's it. But more implication for the domestic would be that, exactly as you say, this is a caretaker government. Elections are supposed to happen, I think, in January. So, this is creating a new, public enemy. You need the other. Of course, India is one big, enemy they want to point out. When you are in your domestic troubles, you always point to outer enemies. So this will create another enemy, and the Pakistan government will tell us, look here, we are telling you that much of the violence in our country is due to these illegal Afghan refugees. Right? So it creates another other to divert the attention, but on the other hand, it could be a lead to a pretext of postponing the elections also. Right? Because of this, there would be more, internal turmoil. Definitely there would be, if they try to implement, how will they be able to? It's over 1 million or 2 such probably illegals, how will they do that?
Absolutely,
It- it was-
and any foreign policy move is clearly reflective of how strong or weak or is a nation going through a turmoil of some sorts. Whatever decisions they take, the domestic influences clearly reflect on the foreign policy or any such decision which is taken. Mr. Ravindra Sachdev, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, and thank you so much for getting us all that perspective. Here on Nation at 5, much more lined up on the other side of a very quick break. Stay tuned.
From the time the spark was first lit to that six that stopped a billion hearts, the fire has been burning bright. It's time for a hat trick to raise that cup again at home. Time to show who are the kings of cricket. Join CNN News 18 with the best cricketing minds all throughout the ICC Men's World Cup.
It can happen, like they can say that a student can't be allowed in Canada anymore, and they can send back, as well as like there are a lot of students in India which they dream to come to Canada, right? So if there any cancellation of the study permit as well as other things, so they have problem in there.
Sheridan College here in Brampton, just west of Toronto, a very Punjabi area, and to be honest, it's very Punjabi in there as well among the students, and there are of course as many different views and experiences of the present situation as there are students, but a lot of the students, if not hugely worried, do seem at the least a little apprehensive about what's going on.
Right now, because there are a lot of things are going on, and we have also fear that we need to go back to home, like how we will get to home, and like there are some news are running that they will send back students to India as well. So there are some certain things which we need to think about that.
Actually, I respected both countries, India and Canada, but India media is showing on every situation to Khalistan, like Shubh came to in Bombay for the controversy. If any कोई भी बंदा पंजाबी हुंदा ना ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਨਾਲ.
ट्रूडो ने इंडिया पे एलिगेशन लगाया, राइट, एंड नाउअडेज इंडिया ट्रूडो पे एलिगेशन लगा रहा है दैट ही केम टू इंडिया व्हाइल लाइक G20, राइट, सो दैट टाइम ही वाज लाइक not in his condition, he was like drug and all these things, so like they are putting Trudeau image down as well, and so that's not good for us.
We are in the starting phase of our commitment, so like not actually we are feeling unsettled, but at some point when we go out and saw something undisturbing, we really feel unsettled about that.
I'm happy too and sad also. It's very difficult to describe it because as I am an international student, it's really hard to live without my parents. But on some point, I feel like I made a wrong decision. But after some time, I know it will gonna change that in a good decision. But for now, I feel.
The Sheridan College offers a very large number of courses, and one of the departments seems particularly useful and promising in today's environment. The students here are almost all Indian. Without doubt, this college would close down were it not for Indian students. As many as 320,000 Indian students were enrolled in Canadian colleges at the end of last year, bringing more than 10 billion Canadian dollars to the economy. It's not all bad for the students though. The college plaza just across from the college provides a buzzing social life in the evenings.
Everything is same. People are so peaceful just like before, so there nothing changed in my life. As I am working at Tim Hortons, so I meet many people. Like people say there are Asian people that are not good for them, but no, people are not saying anything.
No, there hasn't been any change. It's life as usual over here as of now, and there's nothing as such a concern over here or safety issues. Apart from that, I think most of the colleges have already shared links and other resources with the students if they feel unsafe, and if they are not comfortable, they can always reach out to their respective universities and colleges.
I think every college have provided securities and insurance to the students, and where I live I didn't find any difference. I live with a Punjabi family. I found it like a home. Political issues, I don't think there is no problems for students, as I don't find it that much issue or problem for me.
The greater fear is not immediate and political, it is long term, what they'll do with themselves when they're done with all this, whether they'll find settlement, whether they'll find jobs, and on those, the future does not look very promising at all.
I can say the particular problem over here is for accommodation and for job as well, because recession is going on a lot right now, and it's very hard for an international student to find a job over here. Apart from that, people over here are very great. Place is nice, weather is nice, so yeah, we enjoy it, but as well as some stuffs like this are unstable over here.
So like government can take any action for them, because we are not safe until, because we are not citizen as well, and we are not any PR, so we are only like study permit. So like anything can happen, like they can say that a student can't be allowed in Canada anymore, and they can send back, as well as like there are a lot of students in India which, they like dream to come to Canada, right? So if there any cancellation of the study permit as well as other things, so they have problem in there.
Sheridan College here in Brampton, just west of Toronto, a very Punjabi area, and to be honest, it's very Punjabi in there as well among the students, and there are of course as many different views and experiences of the present situation as there are students, but a lot of the students, if not hugely worried, do seem at the least a little apprehensive about what's going on.
Right now, because there are a lot of things are going on, and we have also fear that we need to go back to home, like how we will get to home, and like there are some news are running that they will send back students to India as well. So there are some certain things which we need to think about that.
Actually, I respected both countries, India and Canada, but India media is showing on every situation to Khalistan, like Shubh came to in Bombay for the controversy. If any ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਬੰਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਨਾਲ.
Trudeau ने इंडिया पे एलिगेशन लगाया, right? And nowadays India Trudeau पे एलिगेशन लगा रहा है that he came to India while like G20, right? So that time he was like not in his condition. He was like drunk and all these things. So like they are putting Trudeau image down as well, and so that's not good for us.
We are in the starting phase of our commitment, so like not actually we are feeling unsettled, but at some point when we go out and saw something undisturbing, we really feel unsettled about that.
I'm happy too and sad also. It's very difficult to describe it, because as I am an international student, it's really hard to live without my parents. But on some point, I feel like I made a wrong decision. But after some time, I know it will gonna change that in a good decision. But for now, I feel.
The Sheridan College offers a very large number of courses, and one of the departments seems particularly useful and promising in today's environment. The students.
Welcome back. You're watching The Nation at 5, and another top story of the day are the raids or the searches that were conducted at the residence of Aam Aadmi Party leader and Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh. Now, supporters have gathered outside the residence of Aam Aadmi Party leader Sanjay Singh right now. These are members of the Aam Aadmi Party. The opposition parties are also supporting the AAP on this entire matter, saying that right before the elections, this is some kind of political witch hunt and vendetta against the opposition camp. The Enforcement Directorate so far, in the multiple charge sheets that have been filed, has not named Sanjay Singh as accused, accomplice or in any other capacity. Yes, he's mentioned in certain conversations that the witness turned approver has now mentioned in this entire case. The accused turned approver, Dinesh Arora, has mentioned in his testimony multiple times. The other facet that has emerged in this entire investigation is that will there be more skeletons out of the closet? Will we see more netas of the Aam Aadmi Party coming under the radar of the Enforcement Directorate in the Delhi excise policy case? Let me cut across to my colleague Anshul, who's joining us on the broadcast. Anshul, supporters have gathered outside the residence of Sanjay Singh. Tell us what's happening there, what the atmosphere is really like.
Since morning we have been reporting from the ground, and since morning what has changed, I'd just like to show you in the visuals over here. It has been more than 10 hours since these raids have started, and now these handful of Aam Aadmi Party reporters have all gathered over here raising slogans against the central government and how the central government is giving off agencies to actually quote unquote harass leaders who are raising their voice against the Bharatiya Janata Party. On the other hand, what has changed is that security that has been deployed on the ground. Since morning we were not seeing so much security that was deployed on the ground, but at this point in time the security personnel who have been deployed has been increased by multiple folds. In fact, barricades have been put all across this entire area. Since morning there was no restriction of movement in any way or any manner, but at this point in time barricades have been placed at each and every nook and corner, making sure that no more people are allowed to get inside. Remember, it has been more than 10 hours since these raids have been going on. The raids have been going on in the residence office of the Aam Aadmi Party MP Sanjay Singh and also at his residence as well. The Enforcement Directorate has still not clarified if at all Sanjay Singh would be taken into custody or would be arrested in any way or any manner. But yes, the Aam Aadmi Party protesters are now over here on the ground and have started to raise slogans against the central government. I'll try and show you more deployment is being brought over here. If I could just ask my camera person Ravi to show you in the visuals over here. Battalions of the CISF have now been called in. A few of them, a handful of them were deployed here since morning, but now suddenly we are seeing a spike in the security that was deployed on the ground. Several new battalions have been called in just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control. But yes, the ED is still saying, what sources in this Enforcement Directorate are still saying, that Sanjay Singh, though is not a main accused in this entire matter, his name has not come up in the charge sheet, be it the Enforcement Directorate charge sheet or the CBI charge sheet. His name has not come up as an accused, but the other accused who have been interrogated by these agencies, they have taken the name of Sanjay Singh at least 26 times is what has been mentioned in the charge sheet, and hence these raids had started from this morning, especially when Dinesh Arora, one of the main accused in this entire matter, turned approver yesterday itself, and now today we are seeing such heavy-handed action that has been done by the Enforcement Directorate. It has been more than 10 hours. Protesters are on the ground. The security has been increased. What remains to be seen as to what next step will the Enforcement Directorate take, and if at all Sanjay Singh would also be named as one of the accused in this matter. But yes, at this point in time, Sanjay Singh is not an accused, but he has been named by several other accused whose statements have been taken by both Enforcement Directorate and CBI, and hence these raids are happening at the residence of Sanjay Singh.
So, Anshul, stay with us on the broadcast. Legally, how it translates is that if a person is named multiple times by different people who are being investigated or various accused, it does give ground to the agency like an Enforcement Directorate to conduct those raids and searches. For anybody to be named as an accused in the subsequent charge sheets that will be filed by the agency, which they are free to do so in the course of investigation, if the evidence emerges, is that apart from these testimonies, they need to get some kind of substantial proof. This is a money laundering case, so clearly hearsay would not be enough in this case. They would need some money trails, certain seizures that need to be done, and they need to be the next valid ground. If at all, further action needs to be taken against Sanjay Singh. Anshul, once again coming back to you and taking in a perspective from you, there was a statement that came from Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. He openly called it a political witch hunt. He said this is something which the BJP is doing against the members of the Aam Aadmi Party because elections are so close. Opposition parties have come in, rallying in favor of it. Now, right now, there's a piece of breaking news which is coming in at this point in time. And the latest information that we are getting right now is that Enforcement Directorate is indicating that there could be a possible action against Sanjay Singh in the times to come. ED sources say that there is a strong ground to arrest. ED sources further says that the replies are not satisfactory. As far as the indications from the agency is concerned, the agency seems to be confident that apart from the testimony of the various accused, which has named Sanjay Singh roughly about 26 times, like Anshul was pointing out, they have more evidence. What was recovered in those raids? Is there a financial trail that has been established? Do they have a valid ground to justify that arrest? The agency source-based information indicates that they are likely to take further action. Anshul, politically this story is playing out very differently, where the opposition parties are calling it a witch hunt and a vendetta. But sources indicate that ED is likely to take further action against AAP leader Sanjay Singh.
So yes, that's what we are making on a channel at this point in time, that yes, there are indications, in fact there are hectic parleys that are going on inside the Enforcement Directorate, where it could be expected that some sort of action could be taken, but yes,
right, there's some latest news which is coming in. We are getting to know that Sanjay Singh has been arrested. That's the bit of breaking news which is coming in at this point in time. The Enforcement Directorate has been conducting multiple raids at his residence, and he was named by various accused at least 26 times. This is the big news that we are getting for you here on CNN News 18, that Aam Aadmi Party Neta, the Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh, has been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate, and this is in connection to the Delhi liquor policy scam. This is the second heavyweight of the Aam Aadmi Party who's under scanner right now, who has been arrested by the agency. Manish Sisodia from February last year is already under the custody of the agency, and now it is the turn of Sanjay Singh, who after these raids have been arrested. Anshul with us on the broadcast. Anshul, what more information do you have?
So yes, what we are picking up at this point in time, that Sanjay Singh has now been taken into custody, is what has been confirmed to us by the sources within the Enforcement Directorate, and that is the reason why, as we were reporting, that there is heavy security that has been deployed on the ground. In fact, the number of security personnel have also been increased because of this only because there was a fear that once this news breaks that Sanjay Singh has been arrested, we can expect a lot of hangama that could have happened over here, and that is the reason why the security has been made in such a heavy manner. The kind of deployment that has been made is made in the same manner. I'll just try and speak to a few of these protesters and just try and get in their reaction. सर, आप यहाँ धरना दे रहे हैं, अभी ये खबर आई है कि एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टर ने संजय सिंह जी को अरेस्ट कर लिया है, कैसे देखते हैं इसको?
देखिए, ये तानाशाही की प्रकाष्ठा है, और मैं ये जानता हूँ कि संजय सिंह की गिरफ्तार मोदी के तानाशाही राज की ताबूत में आखिरी कील साबित होगी। मोदी जी जो है बुनियादी मुद्दों की राजनीति से डरते हैं, इसलिए ईमानदार राजनेताओं को, ईमानदार पार्टी के नेताओं को गिरफ्तार कर रहे हैं, झूठे गिरफ्तार कर रहे हैं, झूठे मामलों में गिरफ्तार कर रहे हैं। हमारे पार्टी के नेता कट्टर ईमानदार है, कट्टर देशभक्त है, लेकिन उनकी कट्टर ईमानदारी और देशभक्ति मोदी जी को पसंद नहीं आ रही है।
This is the big breaking news that we are getting you here on CNN News 18 on the Nation at 5. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party Neta, Rajya Sabha MP, has been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. Earlier there were raids that were conducted, and now agency has taken the call to arrest Sanjay Singh. Clearly they have more evidence on record to justify this arrest. My colleague Arunima with more details. Arunima, please tell us more.
Yes, so this has now been confirmed by sources in the Enforcement Directorate that Sanjay Singh has been taken into custody. He has been taken into custody after, questioning since almost 7 in the morning. Around 6:45, the ED team reached his doorsteps, and since then questioning began. Searches were carried out. The reason for taking him into custody is because the ED officials felt that they needed to question him further in custody, that the answers that he was giving was called uncooperative, that he was not cooperating in the investigation, and therefore his custodial interrogation is required. He could be confronted with some of the other accused in this case. Dinesh Arora has turned approver, so whatever Arora has told the Enforcement Directorate, he can be confronted with Arora as well. So those are all reasons why the ED decided to take Sanjay Singh into custody. I am at the Enforcement Directorate at the moment, and already the bandobast here seems to indicate that Singh could be brought here for further questioning. And in that backdrop, already politics has begun. But right now, all I can confirm is that Sanjay Singh has been taken into custody by the Enforcement Directorate.
Sanjay Singh has been taken into custody by the Enforcement Directorate. Arunima, my colleague, confirming those details. Anshul also reporting from the ground. The most important facet here is that so far in the multiple charge sheets that were filed in the liquor policy scam case, Sanjay Singh was not named as an accused. He was not an accused. Manish Sisodia was in the CBI FIR as well, and right from the CBI FIR to the charge sheet, then to the Enforcement Directorate ECIR, Manish Sisodia had a trail going on. Sanjay Singh's name has emerged in multiple conversations and statements, testimonies of various accused, what they have recorded so far. This is an emerging news that we are reporting here on CNN News 18, and clearly the agency must have solid grounds to justify this custodial interrogation that they think is very important for the sanctity of the investigation. Arunima back with us on the broadcast. Arunima, what more we can tell our viewers?
So, can I just show you around? Umesh, if you can just turn the camera around and show the kind of police bandobast. So, look at more police forces being brought in. This is a van full of Delhi police personnel who are being brought in outside the Enforcement Directorate headquarters near Khan Market here in Delhi. This is because they expect Sanjay Singh to be brought here. Behind me also, you will see police barricades set up, which leads you to the main gate of the Enforcement Directorate. So, this is all bandobast being done. Sanjay Singh's, residence is where he was arrested from. He will be brought here to the Enforcement Directorate headquarters. There is a possibility his questioning could go on further here. There will of course be a medical test, and just to clarify, often there has been this doubt that because he is a sitting member of parliament, what is the procedure, what is the protocol? So I just want to clarify that former Rajya Sabha chairperson Venkaiah Naidu actually had given a ruling saying that in a criminal case there is no bar on an investigating agency to take a member of parliament into custody even if the session is on. It's only in a civil case that you need to give 40 days notice before the session begins, but because this is a criminal investigation, the agency is not restricted by any parliamentary protocol or procedure. They have decided to take Sanjay Singh into custody under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. There is heavy police bandobast outside the Enforcement Directorate headquarters now. Sanjay Singh will be asked whether he was aware of the excise policy scam, whether he was aware why the excise policy was tweaked, who were the people responsible for the tweak. Dinesh Arora had said that Singh was sitting in that meeting when he met Arvind Kejriwal, that he is the one who introduced Dinesh Arora to Manish Sisodia. So why was Sanjay Singh helping Dinesh Arora? Arora has also said that a shop in Pitampura had got into some kind of an issue with excise department. Sanjay Singh intervened and helped sort out that issue as well. So he could be asked why was he helping Arora, and why was Arora arranging lakhs of rupees for the party fund, because Singh had arranged him to do so. These will be preliminary questions. His bank account details, his digital devices will all be scanned, and we'll have to wait and see if any money trail can be established by the ED.
Well, prima facie, they ought to have evidence beyond the preliminary facets that Arunima pointed out, because taking into custody / arrest denotes an element of criminality in which any accused or any person of interest has indulged into. As we've been pointing out since morning, so far officially, formally, he has not been named as an accused in this case. But if the Enforcement Directorate has gone forward and did that arrest or has taken him into custody, clearly they must have certain evidence on record, at least the due process demands so. I want to cut across once again back to Arunima. She is with us on the show giving us more perspective. Arunima, this is bound to become a big political standoff yet again.
I think it already has. If you see the kind of reaction that is coming from the Aam Aadmi Party, including Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, who's the convener of Aam Aadmi Party, the national convener, what has he said since morning? That where is the money trail? Even when you raided Manish Sisodia, even when you arrested him, you couldn't show any money, and that is what has been Aam Aadmi Party's constant refrain, that there is no scam here. Excise policy was tweaked because there was an acknowledgement that this was not the right policy for Delhiites, and that is why it was tweaked. Something that the political unit here in Delhi of the BJP and the Congress has not agreed with. And since morning, ever since ED landed at the doorsteps of Sanjay Singh, the Delhi units of BJP and Congress has kept the heat up. Sanjay Singh is one of, the last few national level leaders who were still out of jail. Manish Sisodia is in custody. Satyendra Jain was arrested. Sanjay Singh was still keeping the attack inside Parliament on the Bharatiya Janata Party. And I just want to underline here, I'm not naming that member of Parliament, but there is another member of Parliament from Aam Aadmi Party who is under the ED scanner, who has been named by Dinesh Arora. So the heat is definitely on the Aam Aadmi Party, and whatever they might say that this is political vendetta, the fact is that under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it is very difficult to get bail. So now that Sanjay Singh has been arrested, it could mean one more heavy political blow to the Aam Aadmi Party's political ambitions.
Absolutely, and the manner in which Manish Sisodia's case has panned out, that despite the stiff political criticism that has come in from the Aam Aadmi Party, from the opposition camp, legally if you see, Manish Sisodia has not been able to secure a bail, and that only goes on to show that prima facie the evidence against him was strong. If the agency has a strong evidence to justify arrest, if they can convince the court that any kind of bail is going to tamper with the pending investigation, bail is difficult, as my colleague pointed out. Interestingly, very recently, just less than 24 hours ago, there was an interesting judgment handed down by the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court reminded the Enforcement Directorate that yes, there are wide sweeping powers that the agency has, but whenever you do an arrest, make sure that proper procedure is followed. In this case, I'm sure the agency must have their records up to date in terms of why this arrest has taken place. It has already turned into a big legal battle and a political battle. Arima, talking about how this case has panned out so far, and the timing of it is very important. I'm once again going to talk about the political facets of this case. Arvind Kejriwal came out in the public domain. Delhi Chief Minister said that, look, this is once again close to the elections, BJP trying to use these agencies against the opposition parties. But legally the narrative has not stuck. In court, Manish Sisodia was not able to secure a bail, and we don't know what will happen in the case of Sanjay Singh.
Yes, this is a huge issue. Under PMLA, most of those suspects, most of the accused under PMLA have found it very difficult to convince the judiciary that they must be given bail. Even though Supreme Court has said that, bail should be the rule and jail should be the exception. In PMLA cases, that has not been the scene so far. As I'm speaking to you, just showing you how more and more paramilitary personnel are being brought in here, including women personnel. This is because Sanjay Singh is a big leader of Aam Aadmi Party, and perhaps the ED suspects that when he is brought here to the ED headquarters, there could be a gherao by the Aam Aadmi Party karyakartas, and paramilitary forces continue to pour in. As I am speaking to you, behind me you will see paramilitary and police barricades also. So the Enforcement Directorate is not taking any chances. Politically speaking, we'll have to wait and watch how this pans out, but this definitely is a big setback for Sanjay Singh. Two of his aides have been searched earlier. Dinesh Arora has turned an approver. So whatever the aides have told Enforcement Directorate, whatever Arora has told Enforcement Directorate, whatever their own investigation has revealed so far, I think questioning will entail Sanjay being confronted with all of that and being repeatedly asked about the money trail. If you have a minute, I just want to point that out, that when Aam Aadmi Party says that there is no money trail established, I think CBI and ED will not agree, because in their charge sheet, they have drawn the money trail all the way up to Goa, saying that lakhs of rupees were paid by the South Group, and there is linkages with Aam Aadmi Party's Goa election campaign. They also have a hunch that this has a linkage with the Punjab election campaign. So will Sanjay Singh's questioning give them any evidence for that hunch? That is what we are waiting and watching.
And Arunima, as you argued, if this political argument that there is no money trail was true, Manish Sisodia would have been out of jail. If to a certain extent the court is convinced that yes, this is going in the right direction, getting a bail is difficult. Anshul is also with us on the broadcast. He's getting us more voices. Anshul, any more? All right, Pravesh Verma, who's a BJP MP, is joining us on the broadcast. I want to cut across to him first. Pravesh ji, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. We'll continue getting you more voices. I believe we have lost the audio of Mr. Verma. We'll just connect in a bit. Before that, let me quickly take in a word from Anshul as well. Anshul, what's happening there where you are right now? Any reactions that you're getting from the Aam Aadmi Party workers?
So yes, the security has been increased out here, multiple folds. If I could show you in the visuals over here, this is the back gate of Sanjay Singh's residence, where you can see that paramilitary forces have been deployed out here just for any untoward situation, or in any sense, if Sanjay Singh could not be taken out from the front gate, then he could be taken out from this back gate, and hence preparations are on here as well at the back gate. I'll just take you across to the front gate, where the entire protest has now broken out. The police is trying to make sure that the protesters are under control, and a safe passage is made for Sanjay Singh to be taken out from here to the Enforcement Directorate office, before which what is expected that he would be taken for a medical, and post that the ED is going to take custody. But if you could see in the visuals over here, this is the main gate, the front gate of Sanjay Singh's residence, and the kind of crowd that has gathered over here, the sloganeering is still on. They have made this barricade right in front of the residence of Sanjay Singh, which means that it is going to be very, very difficult for the Enforcement Directorate salutes to take Sanjay Singh out from here anytime soon. And that is the reason why we have seen out here that the security arrangements have been increased, multiple folds out here. I'll just try and speak to a few people who are gathered over here. सर, संजय सिंह जी को अरेस्ट कर लिया गया है, ये बताया जा रहा है। संजय सिंह जी को अरेस्ट कर लिया गया है, ये बताया जा रहा है कि काफी सारे जो दूसरे आरोपी थे, उन्होंने संजय सिंह का नाम लिया और कहा कि ये भी संलग्नित थे जब वो पॉलिसी बन रही थी, लेकर पॉलिसी।
ये सब बीजेपी की चाल है, इसमें कोई वो नहीं है। पहले सत्येंद्र जैन, फिर मनीष सिसोदिया और अब संजय सिंह। ये 2024 का जो चुनाव आ रहा है, उसमें बीजेपी बौखला गई है, और ये इस कारण इनकी
क्या मांगे आप लोग प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, क्या मांगे हैं?
हमारी मांग यही है, संजय सिंह को तुरंत रिहाई की, अगर वे अरेस्ट हो गए हैं तो उन्हें रिहा किया जाए। अगर रिहा नहीं करते, संसद तक आम आदमी पार्टी इसके लिए आंदोलन और सड़क पर उतरकर उनकी रिहाई की मांग करेगी। अभी हमें अपुष्ट जानकारी है, अभी हमें कोई पक्का ये नहीं है कि उनकी गिरफ्तारी हो चुकी है।
So as you heard there, that this entire arrest is now going to be a massive political game, and in the next few days, once Sanjay Singh is taken from here to the custody of the Enforcement Directorate, we can expect that the Aam Aadmi Party is going to leave no stone unturned in making all the notches that how the people who raise voice against the government is harassed in such a manner. But yes, the Enforcement Directorate is still very, very clear. The basic reason for this raids that happened today initially was that several of the other accused in this entire matter have taken the name of Sanjay Singh, and how he has played the role in which Dinesh Arora was initially
the allegations which need to be
Manish
probed, as
Sisodia
you rightly pointed out. Anshul, please stay with us on the broadcast. I'll continue to come back to you and get more perspective. Please continue to get us all those voices from the Aam Aadmi Party supporters. Some political reactions coming in. Let's cut across.
हिसाब तो देना बनता है ना लोकतंत्र में।
अरविंद केजरीवाल कह रहे हैं कि पहले भी रेड पड़े और छापेमारी हुई, लेकिन कुछ नहीं मिला, इसमें भी कुछ नहीं मिला।
इससे बड़ा बेगैरत केजरीवाल हो सकता है? दो मंत्री जेल में हैं और कह रहा कुछ नहीं मिला। कमाल हो गया जी। बेगैरत पने की बात देखिए। आपने कहा मेरे 2 बच्चों की कसम कांग्रेस के साथ नहीं जाऊंगा, कांग्रेस के साथ चले गए आप। ये केजरीवाल के बयान नहीं है।
Alright, that was the reaction coming in. Now we'll continue hearing more political voices, as we've been pointing out. This is bound to become bigger. It is already a big political standoff between the ruling BJP at the centre and the bunch of opposition parties who have come out in support of the Aam Aadmi Party, the third big leader of the Aam Aadmi Party to be under the scanner of the central agencies. Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia, and now Sanjay Singh. 2 questions for the agency. One is the grounds on which this arrest has happened. Do they have plausible evidence and prima facie evidence to substantiate or to justify this move of arresting him? It indeed is a massive step by the agency against a person who has not been named as an accused so far. Point number 2, when it comes to the financial trail, in the case of Manish Sisodia, there is enough financial trail which prima facie at the stage of investigation has been established. In the case of Sanjay Singh, what is the prima facie evidence on record and why the agency is so confident? Yes, they are not going to disclose it in the media, but at least in the charge sheet, at least when they present him before the court in the next 24 hours, all of this need to be told to the court to justify the arrest. Arunima with us on the broadcast. Arunima, what more can you tell us? Any further information trickling in?
So what we have got a confirmation from the Enforcement Directorate office is that Sanjay Singh has been taken into custody. His custodial interrogation was necessitated after more than 10 hours of questioning. The Enforcement Directorate team landed at his residence this morning. This is his MP residence. When they landed at his residence, they seized his digital devices, also that of his family members, and began scanning through digital records, papers, and also confronted him with questions that they have about the Delhi excise policy scam. The questions were necessitated because of two people who were earlier accused, now turned approver, including Dinesh Arora. I have Mr. Harish Khurana from the Bharatiya Janata Party with me on the phone line. Mr. Khurana, first reaction. Sanjay Singh is, I think, the third big Aam Aadmi Party leader who has fallen into the net of Enforcement Directorate in the Delhi excise policy scam.
See, what BJP believes that the law is taking their own course, and today the arrest which has been made by ED is according to what the law prevails. Thing is, Arvind Kejriwal, whatever says, it's a political vendetta is going on. But the fact of the matter is, Manish Sisodia, who is the prime accused of this whole liquor scam, is not getting the bail. And today also, when in the Supreme Court the hearing was being there at for the bail of Manish Sisodia, very strong words were being said by honorable judge of Supreme Court. The point is, you have to give the answers, a lot of answers to the whole liquor scam. Telling political vendetta is going on or Vijaya politics is going on, it will not be it. At the ground, they have to tell what the actual fact is. They have to give a lot of answers which Aam Aadmi Party is not able to give us.
Mr. Khurana, the India Alliance, of which Aam Aadmi Party is also a part, they are already trying vendetta. I'm just reading out to you what Mehbooba Mufti of PDP has tweeted. She says ruling party seems to be on an arresting spree only to destroy whatever is left of a level playing field in the run-up to general elections. Central agencies are being weaponized and misused at the behest of the Bharatiya Janata Party. But then again, it's the same party that almost changed the name of this country owing to its insecurity about the India Alliance. So, Mr. Khurana, India Alliance members saying Sanjay Singh is being arrested to destroy the level playing field ahead of general elections.
Whatever the statement, what they're giving is a political statement. As far as legality is concerned, if BJP is doing a vendetta politics, why are not getting the legal help? They are not getting the bail since last 1 year. You talk about Chandrakar Jain, he's on the bail on the health ground only, but Manish is not getting the bail on the health ground too. Also not getting the bail. Point is, legal aspect is they have a very strong case against Manish Sisodia and Arvind Kejriwal and Sanjay Singh, so they are not getting the bail as far as Supreme Court and court is concerned. Whatever the statement you want to give it, you can give it. But end of the day, political statement is will not in the court.
Right. Mr. Khurana of the Bharatiya Janata Party, thank you so much for joining us. So political statements aside, the fact remains that Aam Aadmi Party's legal woes continue to rise after Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain. Sanjay Singh, Member of Parliament in Rajya Sabha from the Aam Aadmi Party, has been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate under charges of money laundering in the Delhi excise policy scam. My colleague Anshul is at Sanjay Singh's residence. Anshul, anything that suggests that Sanjay Singh will be taken out by the ED officials and brought to ED headquarters soon?
So yes, I'll just try and show you in the visuals over here the kind of security that has been deployed over here to make sure that the passage of Sanjay Singh from his residence to the ED office is smooth. That has increased multiple folds over the last 15 to 20 minutes since the news has broken that Sanjay Singh has officially been taken into custody by the Enforcement Directorate. And along with that, there are protesters who have gathered over here and are raising their voice. In fact, they have made this blockade right outside the gates of the residence of Sanjay Singh, making sure that if anyone tries to take Sanjay Singh out, that won't be possible unless they go through them. And that is the reason why we are seeing that these protesters are continuously raising slogans against the Bharatiya Janata Party and the central government. But yes, these visuals speak for themselves, and yes, the kind of action that has been taken by the Enforcement Directorate, that is also something that is very, very interesting, because till now Sanjay Singh was not named as an accused in this entire matter. In fact, his name was taken by several other accused whose statements were recorded either by the CBI or by the Enforcement Directorate in this matter. But yes, Sanjay Singh was not the main accused. Now, since this morning post, Dinesh Arora turned an approver, and Dinesh Arora, according to the Enforcement Directorate charge sheet, was said to be close to Sanjay Singh, and hence these raids have started out here at 7 a.m. this morning, post which we are seeing there is some movement inside the residence of Sanjay Singh. I'll just try and show you in the visuals over here. Officials are now entering, paramilitary officials in fact, are now right outside the main gate of Sanjay Singh. But yes, we are expecting some more action to happen very, very quickly since the news has come out. It has been confirmed that Sanjay Singh has been arrested. In the next few minutes, we can expect that the Enforcement Directorate salutes will try to take out Sanjay Singh from here amidst heavy security, as the protesters who are sitting out here, they would be removed, or the back gate of this house would be used. There is paramilitary forces that have been deployed on the back gate as well, making sure that the movement of Sanjay Singh from here to the Enforcement Directorate office is smooth and is done under protection. But yes, these are the visuals that we are bringing to our viewers live from outside the residence of Sanjay Singh, where you can see that not only protests have broken out, but yes, there is a lot of panic that can be seen out here, especially within the security forces, as they are trying to make sure that the entire situation remains under their control. Barricades have been put across this entire area. The entire area has been barricaded. The movement of people has been restricted out here in North Block, especially near the...
Right. Anshul, just hold on. Somnath Bharti of the Aam Aadmi Party also with me. Mr. Bharti, first reaction about Sanjay Singh's arrest.
This is the darkest day of the democracy, and this speaks of the fear of Mr. Modi against Aam Aadmi Party. He is fearing a massive loss in 2024. This is the biggest scam. ED CBI inquiry of liquor, so-called liquor scam, is the biggest scam itself. Mr. Modi doesn't like Mr. Sanjay Singh because of him being vocal in the parliament. He has raised uncomfortable questions in the parliament against Mr. Modi. Manipur failure, women being paraded naked in Manipur, PM having complete silence on the incident. There are n number of occasions when Mr. Sanjay Singh has caused, situations where Mr. Modi couldn't answer. This is all about that.
Okay,
it's
Mr. Bharti, I have a question. Mr. Bharti,
any scam or something like that.
Mr. Bharti, if you allow me to come in, while Aam Aadmi Party alleges that this is politics of vendetta and CBI and ED is being misused, how is it that, court is appreciating the evidence that ED and CBI are putting out? Mr. Sisodia, Mr. Satendra Jain are still in jail. You cried political vendetta even then, but the court refused to grant bail and it accepted the evidence that ED and CBI put out.
Single rupee recovery of any kind from anywhere. This is the biggest, facade which BJP has created using ED and CBI. We were all thinking today that Minister Sisodia will be released, and that is why this was all planned by BJP to keep the heat on. Because if Manish gets released...
No, so you're saying even the judiciary was influenced by the BJP?
Come again?
Mr. Bharti, are you saying even the judiciary has been influenced by the BJP? Because I asked you, how is it that the judiciary is appreciating the evidence of CBI and ED?
I'm saying I'm not... See, we only have 4 from judiciary. But question is, the law is such, the ED has got such mandate from the law these days that they can apprehend anybody without having any basis. And then it is just like that you have to prove your innocence. It is like quota, that you prove your innocence rather than they proving you being guilty. So that is why the problem is. Problem is in today's time, it is that powerful that they can pick you today also from your studio and they keep proving. See, yesterday they were all after journalists, today they are after politicians. So Mr. Modi is, because he is seeing his massive failure in 2024, that is why he's after all the political opponents. That's what he's doing, nothing else.
All right, let me bring in a BJP reaction. RP Singh of the Bharatiya Janata Party, please react to this. Somnath Bharti, even Mehbooba Mufti and other opposition leaders are alleging that you have weaponized Enforcement Directorate. Okay, I've lost that line with RP Singh, but Mr. Bharti, if you're still there with us, how much of a setback is Mr. Sanjay Singh's arrest for Aam Aadmi Party politically?
No, see, what I'm saying, of course we'll go to the court. What I'm saying that this all speaks of his fear, Mr. Modi's fear. It doesn't speak of anything else. So we are succeeding in one thing to bring before the nation. That is, he is fearful of his loss, of his to be lost, in 2024 election. So he stands exposed today. BJP stands exposed today. That this forming of India is causing him sleepless nights. Because he can see that he is losing the election massively. That is why Ain Ken Prakrin is trying to get hold of all those individuals who speak. So Mr. Sanjay Singh has spoken so often on the floor of the House, Parliament, that it has caused massive embarrassment to Mr. Modi.
Okay. Mr. Bharati, if you give me a moment, let me also bring in the Delhi BJP president and get a reaction from BJP. Sir, what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying is that you have weaponized Enforcement Directorate. You have created the PMLA Act in a way that whoever gets arrested doesn't get bail easily, and you are utilizing that law to target political opponents, and that is why Aam Aadmi Party says Sanjay Singh has been arrested. Your reaction?
देखिए, हर अपराधी यही कहता है कि वो विक्टिम है, उसके साथ सरकार गलत कर रही है। इनसे पूछिए, शराब नीति बनाने के लिए हमने कहा था क्या, या जांच एजेंसी ने कहा था क्या शराब नीति में बदलाव कीजिए? शराब नीति में 2% से 12% कमीशन करने के लिए जांच एजेंसी ने कहा था क्या? शराब घोटाले में हजारों करोड़ रुपए का घोटाला करने के लिए जांच एजेंसी ने कहा था क्या? आपने चोरी की है, अब चोरी पकड़ी जा रही है तो आप विक्टिम कार्ड खेल रहे हैं। अगर आपने चोरी नहीं की होती तो मनीष सिसोदिया की बेल करा लेते, वो 8 महीने से जेल में बंद है। अरविंद केजरीवाल इस पूरे गेम के मास्टर प्लान है, सबको उनको पता है। और दिनेश अरोड़ा जो इस पूरे प्लानिंग के सूत्रधार थे, जब वो सरकारी गवाह बने, उन्होंने पहले दिन कहा था अपनी गवाही में कि जब अरविंद केजरीवाल के घर मुझे बुलाया गया इस आबकारी नीति को बनाने के लिए, संजय सिंह मौजूद थे। अब संजय सिंह बताए ना कि रेस्टोरेंट ओनर्स की दिल्ली में मीटिंग क्यों की थी उन्होंने? रात को 3 बजे तक रेस्टोरेंट खुले, ये किसने तय किया था? संजय सिंह ने तय किया था। जब आपके काले कारनामे खुल रहे हैं तो अब आपको दिखाई दे रहा है कि एजेंसी काम करे। एजेंसी तो अपना काम करेगी, आप चोरी नहीं करते तो एजेंसी आपके यहाँ क्यों आती?
सर, आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता ये कह रहे हैं कि ये जो अप्रूवर बने हैं, चाहे दिनेश अरोड़ा हो या जो भी अप्रूवर बन रहे हैं, उन पर दबाव डाला जा रहा है कि वो वही बोले जिससे आम आदमी पार्टी के नेताओं को इम्प्लीकेट किया जा सके, और उन दबाव के तहत वो अप्रूवर बन रहे हैं।
मैडम उनको मालूम है कि उन्होंने गुनाह किया है। वो अप्रूवर इसलिए बन रहे हैं क्योंकि उनको पता है कि जिन्होंने मलाई खाई है वो बचे हुए हैं। तो अगर वो उनको नाम बता रहे तो क्या गुनाह कर रहे हैं? अगर कोई अपराधी अपनी सजा कम कराने के लिए कहता है कि भाई मैंने तो चोरी की है, लेकिन इस चोरी का बड़ा सरगना अरविंद केजरीवाल या संजय सिंह है, तो उसमें बुराई क्या है? उनको तो सच बताना चाहिए, और जांच एजेंसी के सामने तो सच वैसे भी बोलना ही पड़ेगा। अभी दिनेश अरोड़ा बोल रहे हैं, कल संजय सिंह भी बोलेंगे। और अरविंद केजरीवाल सुबह से जानते थे, जब वो कह रहे थे कि संजय सिंह के घर कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, हमें पता है उसके घर में कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, पैसा तो आपने पार लगा दिया, लेकिन जो ट्रेल है पूरी की पूरी वो कैसे पार लगाओगे?
Okay. Somnath Bharti, if you're still there, you want to react to that? If you have committed no mistake, if you have done nothing wrong, how is it possible to create evidence against so many of your top leaders?
दो सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आज तक ईडी और सीबीआई ने 1 भी रुपया का मनी ट्रेल निकाला है? पहला क्वेश्चन। दूसरा क्वेश्चन, क्या ये सत्य नहीं है कि यही एक्साइज पॉलिसी इनकी सरकार जो हरियाणा में है और उत्तर प्रदेश में है, हूबहू उतार लेके चली गई, यही चला रही है एक्साइज पॉलिसी? तीसरा सवाल, क्या संजय सिंह जी का कहीं भी पीछे नाम था? क्योंकि आपको तो माफी मांगनी पड़ी थी, ईडी ने माफी मांगी थी निकल करके कि भाई हमसे गलती हो गई, उनका नाम चार्जशीट में नहीं था। तो आज क्या हो गया? बेसिकली दबाव डाल डाल के एक पैसे का सबूत नहीं, एक धेले का सबूत नहीं, लेकिन ईडी और सीबीआई का ऐसा वेपनाइज किसी ने भी नहीं किया। और माननीय मोदी जी के पुराने स्पीचेस निकाल लीजिए, जहां वो कहते थे कि जी ईडी और सीबीआई का दुरुपयोग हो रहा है। तो आज तो सबसे बड़ा दुरुपयोगी तो आप बन गए, आप ही बन गए दुरुपयोगी। पुराने स्पीच चलवाइए उनके, माननीय मोदी जी के, मालूम पड़ जाएगा आपको।
ओके। Aam Aadmi Party and the Bharatiya Janata Party making this a political issue, but this is a legal trouble which is growing for Aam Aadmi Party. Anusha Soni, if you can see behind me at the Enforcement Directorate headquarters, police bandobast is still intact, and while the political, mudslinging continues, the fact remains that this is yet another legal trouble for Aam Aadmi Party. Sanjay Singh arrested in the Delhi excise policy scam under money laundering charges, in which getting bail has proven to be extremely difficult.
All right, we continue to get you all the updates on that big move by the Enforcement Directorate, which has arrested Aam Aadmi Party Neta and Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh after multiple rounds of questioning, after multiple hours of questioning by the Enforcement Directorate. There were raids or searches that were conducted at his house. ED decided to arrest Sanjay Singh. So far, in any of the charge sheet, he's not been named as an accused, but his name has erupted multiple times during various conversations, testimonies and the statements which have been recorded of various accused/witnesses in this case. Dinesh Arora, the earlier accused turned approver, has been one of the key sources of information for the Enforcement Directorate in this particular matter, and his testimony seems to be one through which the ED has figured out the money trail, which is established to a certain extent in the multiple charge sheets that have been filed, especially against Manish Sisodia, and now the case of Sanjay Singh as well. Let me cut across to my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar. He's been tracking this case at the special PMLA court and various other hearings that have happened. Ananya, today is a big day in this entire investigation. Another major leader of the Aam Aadmi Party has been arrested. The Enforcement Directorate, the manner in which it has conducted this arrest seems to indicate that not just the testimony of the witness/approvers, but also there is other corroborative evidence that the agency has on record. Why don't you bring us a timeline of the case so far? What has happened so far in the case, especially against Manish Sisodia? What has the agency said in the charge sheet? Ananya is with us on the broadcast. I believe there's some problem with the audio. We'll just get it fixed for you. But Delhi liquor policy, which is now scrapped by the Delhi government, is under the scanner. There was a senior bureaucrat in the government who flagged out various inconsistencies in that policy. The allegation against the Delhi government was that this policy and the manner in which it was changed was to do a cartelization of the liquor cartel here in Delhi, and also to give some kind of kickbacks to certain private companies/enterprises which were dealing in the liquor trade. Now, these companies were given benefit as a quid pro quo to provide political funding to the Aam Aadmi Party. The allegation against the Aam Aadmi Party is that this is in some way linked to the Goa elections. This is in some way linked to the Punjab elections as well. In the case of Manish Sisodia, who has been into custody for months, prima facie, there is some sort of money trail that the agency has been able to establish. They've been able to show how the money traveled, how various bank accounts were used, mobile phones which were destroyed. It is argued in the case of Manish Sisodia that he indulged into evidence tampering. Ananya, I believe, is back with us on the broadcast. Ananya, I was just taking our viewers through the timeline of the events and how the case has panned out so far. In the case of Manish Sisodia, what has happened? Because I ask you this question, because that case is going to be an important precedent in terms of how things may pan out for Sanjay Singh.
Well, definitely, Anusha, this is a very, very crucial case when it comes to Manish Sisodia, and it was the fourth supplementary charge sheet wherein the name of Sanjay Singh had first emerged out. It was almost 17 times when this name had actually cropped up in the investigation of, in fact, the agencies. However, he was not somebody who was named as an accused. His name was just there in the statements of various accused, in fact, who now turned approver, including Dinesh Arora. It was also stated that he was a close aide. Dinesh Arora was a close aide of Sanjay Singh, and not only that, but Sanjay Singh had a key role to play in introducing Amit Arora and Dinesh Arora to Manish Sisodia. I have with me Rishikesh, who is the legal counsel for Mr. Sanjay Singh. Sir, what is now going to happen? Because now, since Manish Sisodia has been arrested, what is the legal strategy that you guys are mulling on? What is the next step forward?
Completely illegal arrest. They have not even served with the notices. Suddenly they come up in the morning. They raided the house. He was not even once called for the investigation. What kind of investigation they have been doing for these long times? Suddenly they came up. They interrogated for 7-8 hours. Now they have informed us that they have arrested us. They don't have an iota of evidence till date after so many months have gone by of the investigation. Today, even in the bail hearing, They were not even to produce any sort of
Ananya,
evidence
as you
before the court
are getting
that
us
can
all
say that
those
any
voices,
involvement
my
of
colleague
either of,
Arunima is also with us on the broadcast. But before that, I want to point out to our viewers that the visuals on the screen right now are the visuals coming in from the residence of Sanjay Singh. Those are the visuals on your screen. You'd remember that even earlier, as Arunima was pointing out, there was heavy police bandobast, there was heavy security deployment that had happened at the ED office. The visuals on your screen from Sanjay Singh's residence here in the national capital. 10-hour long questioning, perhaps more than that. And after that long round of questioning, he would be taken to the office of the Enforcement Directorate. Custodial interrogation is what the central agency wants. This is the Delhi liquor policy scam, and once again, yet another big neta, a big political face of the Aam Aadmi Party facing the heat right now. On your screens right now are the officials of the Enforcement Directorate as they continue to come out of the residence. Whenever search is conducted, there are various seizures that an agency is authorized to make in a matter like this. They are not bound to disclose it to the press or media what kind of seizures or what kind of things that they have recovered. But yes, after 24 hours, as and when an accused is presented before the court, they are bound to tell the court what they have recovered, what are they going to investigate, and what are the grounds of this arrest. Arunima with us on the broadcast. Arunima, what more details?
We're just waiting for the ED team to leave Mr. Sanjay Singh's residence and arrive at the ED headquarters. We have been showing you, and perhaps behind me also it's evident about the police bandobast here at the Enforcement Directorate headquarters. More and more, khaki uniformed men are coming in. Paramilitary has been deployed here. Police barricades at the gate of the Enforcement Directorate. And reason for so much bandobast is perhaps because the Enforcement Directorate is wary that once Sanjay Singh is brought here, Aam Aadmi Party karyakartas could follow, because this has become a political case. That perhaps is the reason for such heavy police bandobast all the way up to the ED headquarters at the Vidyut lane. There is heavy police deployment. Both Delhi police and CRPF can be spotted here. There are Mahila, paramilitary personnel also who are deployed here. So that perhaps is to avoid the eventuality of political karyakartas from Aam Aadmi Party coming here and creating any law and order situation outside ED. Now, talking about the case per se, why was Sanjay Singh taken into custody? Why has it taken him so long? The question is that Sanjay Singh was named in the ED charge sheet earlier also, but he was not named as an accused. Whatever Dinesh Arora, who has now turned approver, said about Sanjay Singh, it was just noted in the ED prosecution complaint as it is. But what ED officials now tell us is that subsequently they developed the evidence that was available. The digital evidence was scrutinized, the paper trail was scrutinized, approvers were spoken to. Sanjay Singh's own aides who were searched earlier, their answers and recoveries from their residence were all tallied, and it was then that a decision was taken that Sanjay Singh must be asked some questions. Today morning, when the ED team reached his residence, he was confronted with those questions, and the ED team then came to a conclusion that the answers were not really one that they were giving, that was being given, required further scrutiny. That's when the decision was taken, and this decision was taken around 5:30 in the evening, close to 9 or 10 hours after questioning. A decision was taken that he must be taken into custody, and around 6:30 that decision was formalized, and now we are all waiting for Sanjay Singh to be brought in. 5:30, I beg your pardon. So now we are all waiting for Sanjay Singh to be brought to the ED headquarters. He could be confronted with the approvers and accused in this case.
Arunima, what stands out in this investigation so far is the manner this arrest has taken place. I believe there are, about 5 charge sheets in different cases and capacities that have been filed. And in none of those charge sheets, he's named as an accused. Usually when an arrest takes place, or usually when an agency like an Enforcement Directorate, the powerful agency it decides to arrest somebody, there are summons which are sent or multiple rounds of questioning which is done before a formal arrest. In this case, there was a raid which lasted for about 10 hours or more than that, and now an arrest has been done. Do you find this method different from other cases that we have seen earlier?
Well, if you had told me about Central Bureau of Investigation, perhaps I would have concurred, because Central Bureau of Investigation does send summons after the searchers. It scrutinizes it questions and then decides whether custodial interrogation is required. But then it operates under the Delhi Police Special Establishment Act. The Enforcement Directorate, on the other hand, operates under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, an act which gives the ED investigating officer a lot more power. In fact, the criticism of that act is that it actually puts the onus on the accused to prove that he is not guilty, completely turning on its head the established jurisprudence of innocent until proven guilty. That has been one of the criticisms of PMLA. But then the Supreme Court itself has upheld that act, and therefore that is the law of the land. And I think ED's investigating team is relying on the powers that they have been given, and it has been defended by the government to say that
to add to the argument, Arunima, what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying, that the powers of Enforcement Directorate are very wide and they've been recognized by the Supreme Court of India. But Enforcement Directorate can only investigate a predicate offence. In this case, is there any other case or complaint which was there against Sanjay Singh? There are various questions on the arrests which have happened, and I'm only talking legally, not going into the political dynamics of it at all, which the Enforcement Directorate, I believe, will tell us in the times to come, especially if that, as and when that arrest is formalized, he's taken to the headquarters and when he's presented in the next 24 hours before the court. Anshul is also with us on the broadcast, getting us more details on that important story. Arunima, you were saying something. Finish your point, then I'll go to Anshul.
I was just telling you that, you know, the points that you're raising, I'm sure will be raised by defense lawyers representing Sanjay Singh as and when he's produced in the court. ED is likely to seek his custody for questioning. His defense team would want him to be sent to judicial custody, which paves the way for applying for bail. But again, for bail, you've seen how PMLA Act, accused have found it so difficult to convince the lower court and even the high court that bail must be given to them. So the path legally is not easy for Sanjay Singh. Why has he been arrested? Why was he not arrested earlier? Why was he not named as an accused? I think ED is investigating this case part by part. First, they established the role of the South Group. Then they established the role of the South Group with Manish Sisodia, the conspiracy that was hashed. Then came where the money trail went. So it was tracked down to Goa, where they said in the Goa Assembly elections, proceeds of the crime were utilized. The next question was Manish Sisodia the only person who was behind this conspiracy? And while probing that angle, whether the proceeds of crime were also utilized in Punjab and Delhi elections, general elections, probing that hunch, they have come to a stage where they require custodial interrogation of Sanjay Singh. Is whether it is legal.
मणिपुर में हो रही हिंसा के बाद उठाई, उसको आप संसद से ही नहीं निकाला, आज उसको जेल भेज रहे हो। तो मुझे लग रहा है कि भाजपा माइंडसेट खो चुकी है, उनको डर दिख रहा है 24 के हार का। इंडिया की जीत सुनिश्चित है और सबका फैसला होगा।
आगे की रणनीति क्या कुछ है आप लोगों की?
देखिए, रणनीति तो हमारी साफ साफ है। हमारा रणनीति अहिंसक रूप में संघर्ष है। संघर्ष करेंगे, सड़क पे भी करेंगे, संसद में भी करेंगे, कोर्ट में भी करेंगे।
दूसरे बड़े नेता की ये गिरफ्तारी है, इस पर क्या कहेंगे आप?
देखिए, सबको पता है, अगर किसी व्यक्ति से मोदी जी घबराते हैं, उसका नाम अरविंद केजरीवाल। ये अरविंद केजरीवाल को तंग करने के लिए उनके साथियों को अरेस्ट कर रहे हैं बार बार। माननीय सिसोदिया जी को अरेस्ट किया हुआ है, पिछले कई महीनों से अरेस्ट किया हुआ है। एक धेले का सबूत नहीं है, एक पैसे की रिकवरी नहीं है, कोई मनी ट्रेल नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है। एक लौता केस है भारत के इतिहास में जहां पहले लोगों को अरेस्ट करो, उसमें से कुछ को बोलो तू अप्रूवर बन जा, अप्रूवर नहीं बनेगा तो तुमको मारेंगे, पीटेंगे, काटेंगे। और ये कैसा केस है? एक भी सबूत सीबीआई के पास, ईडी के पास नहीं है। अप्रूवर के मार्फत से इस प्रकार हरकत कर रही है।
बीजेपी कह रही है दिनेश अरोड़ा हो, अमित अरोड़ा हो, इन सब ने संजय सिंह जी का नाम लिया है, तो इसको कैसे देखते हैं?
मैं कह तो रहा हूं, अगर आपको मैं जेल में बंद कर दूं और फिर उसको दबाव डालूं कि तुम्हारे परिवार के साथ अन्याय करूंगा, तुम्हारा कान फाड़ दूंगा, तुम्हारा नुकसान कर दूंगा, तो किसी को भी दबाव में डालोगे, इस प्रकार हरकत करा सकते हो।
रणनीति क्या रहेगी आप लोगों की?
रणनीति हमारी साफ साफ है। हम संघर्ष करेंगे, जनता के पास जाएंगे, सड़क पर भी, संसद में भी, असेंबली में भी, कोर्ट में भी।
बीजेपी कह रही है कि जांच में सहयोग करिए, जांच से क्यों आप लोग भाग रहे हैं? ठीक है,
जांच से।
You heard there, this was Somnath Bharati who has just arrived over here.
That was Somnath Bharati giving out a reaction on the arrest that has happened. And don't let the high decibel political noise dissuade us from the fact that this is an investigation at the end of the day. And if an arrest has happened, the agency will have to prove the grounds or show the grounds to the court's satisfaction. And if there are grounds, they are justified in that arrest. The political noise around this case will continue to go on. We'll keep tracking both the aspects of this case. Let me first cut across to Ananya Bhatnagar, who's with us on the broadcast. Ananya has tracked the Delhi liquor policy case at the special PMLA court, the various rounds of questioning of Manish Sisodia, the multiple times he was presented before the court, hoping for a bail and the rejection of the bail. Ananya, a quick lowdown on what has happened in the case so far.
Well, till now, almost 5 charge sheets, including 4 supplementary charge sheets, have been filed. Remember that Sanjay Singh has been named in various of them, though not as an accused but a person of interest. He is somebody who's found his name in the statements of Dinesh Arora, Amit Arora, and in fact in the conspiracy angle very, very clearly. The Enforcement Directorate had alleged that not only Sanjay Singh but Manish Sisodia and various other leaders of the AAP had hatched this particular conspiracy in order to get a liquor policy that could be favourable to the South group and to various other people as well. Now, what is very, very crucial to note, Anusha, at this point of time is at this point of time, we just saw a judgment coming in from the Supreme Court yesterday, wherein, grounds of arrest is to be given, is what has been said by a 2-judges bench of the topmost court of the country. But when it comes to arrest, and it's the most important question, whenever investigation under the PMLA takes place, there is a political line taken. But when we go by the law, when we go by the investigations that have been carried out by the Enforcement Directorate, it was a very, very careful arrest. He has not been summoned so far.
I'll come back to you. The visuals on your screen right now. This is the heavy police bandobast that has happened, both outside the Enforcement Directorate office and also outside the residence of Aam Aadmi Party Neta and Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh. The police or the ED officials are going to take him from his residence to the Enforcement Directorate office, and anticipating that there could be supporters or political protests.
That question was,
because of this arrest that has happened, such kind of heavy bandobast has been made. The visuals first here on CNN News 18, you can see heavy police deployment by the Delhi police, the security that has been provided, and of course there's media which is present in huge numbers. In few moments from now, you'll have the visuals on your screen. AAP leader Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh arrested in the Delhi liquor policy case, being taken to the Enforcement Directorate office. Custodial interrogation is what the Enforcement Directorate wants. Why they want it, what are the grounds of arrest, how are they justified in arresting somebody who has not been named as an accused so far? Do they actually have clinching evidence on record? Sanjay Singh, on your screen right now, waving to the crowd, getting inside the vehicle of the Enforcement Directorate, and clearly this is a political stance that he has taken in terms of waving to the crowd, showing that this is some kind of political witch hunt or vendetta. The agency maintains that they have ample evidence on record to justify this arrest as and when Sanjay Singh is presented before a court of law. The visuals on your screen are coming from the residence of Sanjay Singh. Heavy deployment of Delhi police authorities. He is being taken into a vehicle. Police is present in huge numbers. Media is present in huge number. Even at the Enforcement Directorate office, the Delhi police has ensured that there are no protesters who gather there. Our reporters continue to be with us on the show, Arunima, Anshul and Ananya, who are tracking this story. Ananya, there's a very important point that you were making, is that while the Supreme Court has upheld the wide powers of the Enforcement Directorate under the PMLA, the other fascinating aspect is the recent judgment which has come out, where the Supreme Court has reminded the Enforcement Directorate that yes, you have wide powers, but there is no law that asks a person to self-incriminate, and mere non-cooperation is not a ground for arrest.
Well, definitely, Anusha, but we also have to understand that this judgment that has come in is overriding a 3-judges bench verdict, and this is a 2-judges bench, Justice A.S. Bopanna, which had, given out these specific observations when it comes to the M3M case. But when it comes to the general law, when it comes to the law that subsists of law, is the Vijay Madan Lal Chaudhary judgment of the Supreme Court, wherein very, very clearly and categorically Section 19 has been held to be sacrosanct. It has been said that in fact, under the Enforcement Directorate, the Section 19 is something that provides a higher safeguard to an accused person, because there are higher standards for arrest of a particular person though there are political lines taken, but this is the law of the land that has been given out by the topmost court of the country, a three judges bench verdict, though it is at challenge before the topmost court of the country, but very, very clearly, until and unless something happens, this is the law of the land. And
well,
categorically,
the way I
Supreme Court
see
has
it,
said that Section
Ananya,
19
is
is
that
something
both
that
judgments are not contradictory to each other. In fact, they explain the position very, very lucidly. The Supreme Court is absolutely clear that wide powers exist, but yes, the agency has to exercise those powers under the lines drawn by law. The visuals on your screen, first here on CNN News 18, Sanjay Singh being taken into that vehicle to the Enforcement Directorate. As he stepped out of his residence, he waved to the crowd that was standing there. There were Aam Aadmi Party supporters who had gathered there in huge numbers. He sat inside the vehicle and now he is en route to the office of the Enforcement Directorate, where once again heavy police deployment has been done. The visuals will continue getting you here first on CNN News 18. Meanwhile, let me also cut across to my colleague Arunima, who's been tracking all the developments. We'll also check if there are any reactions coming in. Arunima, what exactly is happening where you are right now?
So I think once Sanjay Singh leaves, and I think the message has just come here because the policemen on duty are just firming up the barricades further. The barricades here are being tightened further so that there is no gap as far as police bandobast is concerned, because the message has come to them that Sanjay Singh has left his residence. He has been taken out. Not much time it will take for him. I think about 5 to 7 minutes from South Avenue to this place where the Enforcement Directorate office is near Khan Market. So the police bandobast is being tightened. More and more men in khaki on this side, and the paramilitary and Delhi police side, on the other side, so towards the main road as well. And you see the policemen on duty here taking messages on their mobile phones, on their wireless sets as well, taking in the information as and when it is coming. So they are ready as far as law and order situation is concerned. I'm sure inside the Enforcement Directorate building, the officers are also ready. Senior officers who are supervising the case are also ready to confront Sanjay Singh with a lot of evidence that they have managed to gather. So over the next 24 to 48 hours, of course, the medical formalities will be completed, production in court formalities will be completed, but ED is confident that they will be able to convince the court that prima facie a case is made out where his custody must be granted to ED so that he's questioned further, he's confronted with the evidence that they have, he's confronted with the approvers in this case and the accused also. You could well see ED moving an application that Sanjay Singh be confronted with the other accused who are in Tihar. Manish Sisodia, for example, Satyendra Jain, because what does Dinesh Arora say? He says that it was Sanjay Singh who introduced Dinesh Arora to Manish Sisodia. So you could well see applications being moved for that.
We're losing your audio. It's a bit patchy, but we'll come back to you. We'll stay with you on this big story here on CNN News 18. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party Neta, Rajya Sabha MP, has been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate in the Delhi liquor policy scam case. He has been taken from his residence to the ED office. Next 24 hours, he'll be presented before the court, where the ED will tell us the grounds of arrest. This is the massive political story breaking here on CNN News 18. For now, slipping into a very short break. Stay tuned.
All Indian, without doubt this college would close down were it not for Indian students. As many as 320,000 Indian students were enrolled in Canadian colleges at the end of last year, bringing more than 10 billion Canadian dollars to the economy. It's not all bad for the students though. The college plaza just across from the college provides a buzzing social life in the evenings.
Everything is same. People are so peaceful just like before. So there nothing changed in my life. As I am working at Tim Hortons, so I meet many people. Like people say there are Asian people that are not good for them. But no, people are not saying anything.
No, there hasn't been any change. It's life as usual over here as of now. And there's nothing as such a concern over here or safety issues. Apart from that, I think most of the colleges have already shared links and other resources with the students if they feel unsafe, and if they are not comfortable, they can always reach out to their respective universities and colleges.
I think every college have provided securities and insurance to the students, and where I live I didn't find any difference. I live with a Punjabi family. I found it like a home. Political issues, I don't think there is no problems for students, as I don't find it that much issue or problem for me.
The greater fear is not immediate and political, it is long term, what they'll do with themselves when they're done with all this, whether they'll find settlement, whether they'll find jobs, and on those, the future does not look very promising at all.
I can say the particular problem over here is for accommodation and for job as well, because recession is going on a lot right now, and it's very hard for an international student to find a job over here. Apart from that, people over here are very great. Place is nice, weather is nice, so yeah, we enjoy it, but as well as some stuffs like this are unstable over here.
So like government can take any action for them, because we are not safe until, because we are not citizen as well, and we are not any PR, so we are only like study permit. So like anything can happen, like they can say that a student can't be allowed in Canada anymore, and they can send back, as well as like there are a lot of students in India they like dream to come to Canada, right? So if there any cancellation of the study permit as well as other things, so they have problem there.
Sheridan College here in Brampton, just west of Toronto, a very Punjabi area, and to be honest, it's very Punjabi in there as well among the students, and there are of course as many different views and experiences of the present situation as there are students, but a lot of the students, if not hugely worried, do seem at the least a little apprehensive about what's going on.
Right now, because there are a lot of things are going on, and we have also fear that we need to go back to home, like how we will get to home, and like there are some news are running that they will send back students to India as well. So there are some certain things which we need to think about that.
Actually, I respected both countries, India and Canada, but India media is showing on every situation to Khalistan, like Shubh came to in Bombay for the controversy. If any कोई भी बंदा पंजाबी हुंदा ना ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਨਾਲ.
Trudeau ने इंडिया पे एलिगेशन लगाया, right? And nowadays India Trudeau पे एलिगेशन लगा रहा है that he came to India while like G20, right? So that time he was like not in his condition. He was like drunk and all these things. So like they are putting Trudeau image down as well, and so that's not good for us.
We are in the starting phase of our commitment, so like not actually we are feeling unsettled, but at some point when we go out and saw something undisturbing, we really feel unsettled about that.
I'm happy too and sad also. It's very difficult to describe it, because as I am an international student, it's really hard to live without my parents. But on some point, I feel like I made a wrong decision. But after some time, I know it will gonna change that in a good decision. But for now, I feel.
The Sheridan College offers a very large number of courses, and one of the departments seems particularly useful and promising in today's environment. The students here are almost all Indian. Without doubt, this college would close down were it not for Indian students. As many as 320,000 Indian students were enrolled in Canadian colleges at the end of last year, bringing more than 10 billion Canadian dollars to the economy. It's not all bad for the students though. The college plaza just across from the college provides a buzzing social life in the evenings.
Everything is same. People are so peaceful just like before, so there nothing changed in my life. As I am working at Tim Hortons, so I meet many people. Like people say there are Asian people that are not good for them, but no, people are not saying anything.
No, there hasn't been any change. It's life as usual over here as of now, and there's nothing as such a concern over here or safety issues. Apart from that, I think most of the colleges have already shared.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 and our non-stop coverage continues on this big story. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party Neta and the Rajya Sabha MP from the Aam Aadmi Party has been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. From his residence, he's been taken to the ED office. He's en route right now. The agency decided to arrest him despite the fact that he's not been made an accused so far in the 5 charge sheets that have been filed by the agency. The visuals on your screen right now, here from the national capital, from the residence of Sanjay Singh. I believe Anshul is with us on the broadcast. Let me quickly try and get in a sense from Anshul as to what's happening. Anshul, over to you. Give us a sense about what's happening.
Gates have absolutely been closed by the Delhi police, and they are not letting anyone go out, trying to take the law and order situation under control. But yes, the kind of situation that has arisen over here, definitely it seems like that it is going to take a long time for the Delhi police to make sure that the law and order situation gets back into their control. With video journalist Ravi, this is Anshul Singh for CNN News 18.
All right, Anshul Singh reporting there how the Aam Aadmi Party workers and supporters have created some sort of a ruckus right after Sanjay Singh was taken into custody from his residence. Let me cut across to Ananya as well. He's also getting us more voices, more reactions on the story. Ananya, tell us what more do you have? He'll be presented. Sanjay Singh has to be presented before the court in the next 24 hours.
Well, definitely he has to be produced before a special CBI court in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. He will be produced before Special Judge MP who sees of this matter with regards to the excise policy case. But Anusha, first of all, I'll try to show you these visuals. These are the supporters who are standing at the gate of Sanjay Singh residence. They're not being allowed to go out by the Delhi police. You can see my camera person N Satish is going to show you these visuals, and I'll try to speak to some of them. आप लोग बाहर निकलने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं क्या? दिल्ली पुलिस कह रही है अरे उच्च अधिकारी घर में घुस के मार रहे हैं यार. What they say is that the Delhi police officials inside the houses are trying to prevent
this kind of political standoff or the sort of visuals that you're seeing on your screens right now were only anticipated. A high-profile arrest of this nature by the Enforcement Directorate, and as the Aam Aadmi Party and the opposition argues, the manner in which this arrest has been done has clearly raised a political storm. Does the Enforcement Directorate has actual evidence? Does the agency really has actual evidence to present before a court of law as to why did they decide to arrest Sanjay Singh? Apart from the testimony of approver Dinesh Arora, who was earlier a witness in this case, are there substantial financial links and trails that prima facie can be shown to the court and say that, look, this is the evidence and that's why we need to have him in custody to interrogate him to ensure that there is no further destruction of evidence like it has been in the case of Manish Sisodia. On your screens right now, you can see some sort of a conversation happening between the protesters and the Delhi police. I can see Ananya Bhatnagar also with us on the broadcast. Ananya, what exactly is happening?
Well, some time back, the Delhi police officers had entered in the house of Sanjay Singh in order to suppress these protesters who were trying to create a ruckus here. But now there is a dialogue.
All right, Arunima is also with us. Arunima, what exactly is happening? Has Sanjay Singh reached?
Yes, Sanjay Singh has just been brought in. He was sitting in a vehicle alone with the cops. Sanjay Singh, when I tried putting the mic to him, he just waved because the glasses were up and he was wanting to make it evident to the waiting media here that he was here and he would make this into a political match. But I don't think the policeman allowed him much time. He has been taken right inside the Enforcement Directorate, a single vehicle, an Innova which had Enforcement Directorate officials and some Delhi police officials itself, took Sanjay Singh inside, dressed in white, the traditional gamcha that he wears around his neck, smiling, trying to communicate to the media. So now I think the questioning will begin. The medical procedures will also be carried out, and then perhaps tomorrow morning, before he's taken to the court, there will be another round of medical. Post lunch is when we are expecting him to be taken to the court, the special PMLA court, where ED is in all likelihood going to seek custody because they want to question him further.
Arunima, you've already said a huge part of it in what you're reporting right now. But with the benefit of our viewers, the few points or the must-dos that the agency must ensure from here on before he's presented before the court. A medical checkup is something which is mandatory under the Supreme Court guidelines.
Yes, and usually what we see is when a person is arrested, they are taken straight either to the Safdarjung Hospital or to the Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital for medical examination. Activities involved, he's a member of parliament, residence where his supporters had gathered. I think therefore this decision was taken that he will be brought straight to the Aam Aadmi to the ED headquarters here, and medical examination could follow next. Doctors could be asked to come here to examine him. There will be a second round of medical examination tomorrow morning. There is a 24-hour period that Enforcement Directorate has to produce him in court. So since his arrest has happened around 4:30, 5 o'clock, in all likelihood he will be produced in the court after 2 p.m. And in that production, ED is going to argue that they want custody of Sanjay Singh. They want to question him further. The defense in all likelihood will press that there is no case made out since he was never named as an accused in the FIR. In multiple charge sheets he has not been named as an accused, and therefore he is entitled to judicial custody, whatever. And this is also a point that his defense is already arguing, that this entire case is based on paper trail. So why do you require custodial interrogation? You have seized his devices, you have raided his house, whatever you wanted to know he has answered. And what you and Ananya were pointing out, that just because somebody is not cooperating cannot be a ground for arrest. So all these points the defense will highlight, but ED is going to press for custody. So tomorrow between 2 and 4 o'clock, in all likelihood, Sanjay Singh will move out of the building behind me and be taken to the special PMLA court, where ED will want to question, his custody, to question him further.
All right, so I'm going to break it down into a few points, just collecting together what Arunima, Ananya have pointed out. 5 key things that the agency is pointing out. Number 1, various accused and the approvers in this case, especially Dinesh Arora, has named Sanjay Singh, arguing that he had an active role in the decision making when it was decided that Delhi liquor policy should be tweaked. He was part of that decision making. The second point that the agency makes is that it's not just hearsay evidence or the oral testimonies or the approvers' evidence, but they also have a paper trail or the financial trail to establish the fact that he was in some way involved. The third and the most important one, which was also a decisive factor in the case of Manish Sisodia, is the bit about evidence tampering. Usually in PMLA cases, it becomes very difficult to obtain bail because the fear is that the moment a person steps out, the evidence will be tampered. We are cutting across to the press conference of the Aam Aadmi Party.
आने वाले 5 राज्यों के अंदर चुनाव ज्यादातर राज्यों में भारतीय जनता पार्टी हार रही है। वो चैनल्स जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मदद भी करते थे, वे भी अपने ओपिनियन पोल में ज्यादा मदद नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि ग्राउंड पे स्थिति बहुत खराब है। महिला आरक्षण करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, गैस सिलेंडर सस्ता करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। कल भारत के जाने माने बड़े बड़े पत्रकार जो बेखौफ निडर होके जनता के सवाल केंद्र सरकार से करते हैं, उनके घरों पे छापे मारे गए, उनको पुलिस थाने ले जाया गया, सुबह से शाम तक पूछताछ की गई, उनको देशद्रोही बताने की कोशिश की। और आज भारतीय संसद में लोगों की सबसे मजबूत आवाज संजय सिंह जी को जिस तरीके से बिना किसी सबूत, बिना किसी ठोस कारण गिरफ्तार किया गया है, ये बात साबित होती है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी जानते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी चुनाव हार रहे हैं और निराशा है, हार का डर है, बौखलाहट है, डेस्परेशन है, जिसमें अब इस तरीके के उलझुल काम केंद्र सरकार केंद्रीय एजेंसियों से करा रही है। और हर एक सरकार जो तानाशाही की तरफ बढ़ती है उसके लक्षण होते हैं कि जब सत्ता जा रही होती है तो इस तरीके के कारनामे सामने आते हैं, और इसकी वजह से सत्ता बची किसी की नहीं है। इसकी वजह से सत्ता और तेजी से हाथ से फिसलती चली जाती है। और आप देखेंगे, आप इस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस को याद करिएगा, 2024 के चुनाव के बाद इस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस को मैं दोबारा से ट्वीट करूंगा कि ये जो बौखलाहट थी, इससे भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कोई फायदा नहीं हुआ। मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, आतिशी जी जो हैं अपनी बात रखेंगे, उसके बाद प्रियंका जी।
पिछले 15 महीने से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की केंद्र सरकार, उनकी सारी एजेंसीज, उस एजेंसीज के सैकड़ों अफसर सिर्फ एक काम में लगे हुए हैं कि किसी तरह से इस तथाकथित शराब घोटाले में उन्हें 1 रुपए के भ्रष्टाचार का सबूत मिल जाए आम आदमी पार्टी के खिलाफ। लेकिन 1 साल की इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बाद, एक ऐसी इन्वेस्टिगेशन जिसमें सैकड़ों अफसर ईडी के काम कर रहे हैं, सैकड़ों अफसर सीबीआई के काम कर रहे हैं, अपने बाकी सारे इन्वेस्टिगेशंस छोड़ के सारी टीमें इस तथाकथित शराब घोटाले पे लगी हुई हैं। लेकिन 15 महीने के बाद भी 1 रुपए के भ्रष्टाचार का सबूत भारतीय जनता पार्टी की एक भी एजेंसी देश के सामने नहीं रख पाई है। आज जो संजय सिंह जी को गिरफ्तार किया है, वो गिरफ्तारी भी बिना किसी सबूत के आज की गई है। ये गिरफ्तारी क्यों हुई है संजय सिंह जी की? इसलिए नहीं कि कोई सबूत है, इसलिए नहीं कि कोई शराब घोटाला हुआ है, इसलिए नहीं कि 1 पैसे का भी भ्रष्टाचार का खुलासा कर पाई है ईडी और सीबीआई। आज संजय सिंह जी का अरेस्ट सिर्फ इसलिए हुआ है क्योंकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी को और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को अपने खिलाफ आवाज उठाने वालों से डर लगता है, आम आदमी पार्टी से डर लगता है, संजय सिंह से डर लगता है। हम ये देख रहे हैं कि केंद्र सरकार की जो ये बौखलाहट है, जो ये हार की बौखलाहट है, अब इस प्रकार की तानाशाही के रूप में सामने आ रही है। हमने कल ही देखा कि देश के जाने माने पत्रकारों के घर पर रेड हुई, उनको डिटेन किया गया, उनके फोन ले लिए गए, उनके लैपटॉप ले लिए गए। क्यों? क्योंकि वो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के खिलाफ आवाज उठाते हैं। कल शाम को हमने देखा कि किस तरह से टीएमसी के सांसद जब कृषि भवन गए, कृषि मंत्री से मिलने की कोशिश करी, किसानों की आवाज उठाने की कोशिश करी, तो टीएमसी के सांसदों को किस तरह से घसीट कर पुलिस ने कृषि भवन से बाहर निकाला। आज हमने देखा कि आज सुबह ही संजय सिंह जी के घर पहुंच गए और 8 घंटे तक ईडी संजय सिंह जी के घर में बैठी रही। एक घर जिसमें मात्र 4 कमरे हैं, उन्हें पूरी अपनी छानबीन करने में भी 1 घंटे से ज्यादा समय नहीं लगता। 4 कमरे के घर में रहते हैं संजय सिंह जी। लेकिन ये पहले से एक प्री प्लान्ड स्क्रिप्ट था कि जाएंगे, 8 घंटे बैठेंगे और फिर कहेंगे कि 8 घंटे की पूछताछ के बाद संजय सिंह जी की गिरफ्तारी कर ली। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की हार की बौखलाहट को दिखा रहा है। ये प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की हार की बौखलाहट को दिखा रहा है। आज उनको भी पता है कि चाहे आने वाले 4 राज्यों के चुनाव हो, चाहे 2024 का लोकसभा का चुनाव हो, देश की जनता ने अब भारतीय जनता पार्टी को बाहर फेंकने का मन बना लिया है। और जब भी कोई तानाशाही की सरकार देखती है कि उनका समय आ गया है, तो उसके बाद यही सिलसिला शुरू होता है कि जो उनके खिलाफ आवाज उठाएगा उसको जेल में डाल दिया जाएगा। और यही सिलसिला आज भारत में शुरू हो गया है कि चाहे पत्रकार हो, चाहे विपक्ष के नेता हो, उनको एक एक करके चुप करने की कोशिश की जा रही है।
माननीय प्रधान
other resources with the students if they feel unsafe, and if they are not comfortable, they can always reach out to their respective universities and colleges.
I think every college have provided securities and insurance to the students, and where I live I didn't find any difference. I live with a Punjabi family. I found it like a home. Political issues, I don't think there is no problem for students, as I don't find it that much issue or problem for me.
The greater fear is not immediate and political, it is long term, what they'll do with themselves when they're done with all this, whether they'll find settlement, whether they'll find jobs, and on those, the future does not look very promising at all.
I can say the particular problem over here is for accommodation and for job as well, because recession is going on a lot right now, and it's very hard for an international student to find a job over here. Apart from that, people over here are very great. Place is nice, weather is nice, so yeah, we enjoy it, but as well as some stuffs like this are unstable over here.
So the government can take any action for them, because we are not safe until, because we are not citizen as well, and we are not any PR, so we are only like study permit. So like anything can happen, like they can say that a student can't be allowed in Canada anymore, and they can send back, as well as like there are a lot of students in India they like dream to come to Canada, right? So if there any cancellation of the study permit as well as other things, so they have problem in there.
Sheridan College here in Brampton, just west of Toronto, a very Punjabi area, and to be honest, it's a very Punjabi in there as well among the students, and there are of course as many different views and experiences of the present situation as there are students, but a lot of the students, if not hugely worried, do seem at the least a little apprehensive about what's going on.
Right now, because there are a lot of things are going on, and we have also fear that we need to go back to home, like how we will get to home, and like there are some news are running that they will send back students to India as well. So there are some certain things which we need to think about that.
Actually, I respected both countries, India and Canada, but India media is showing on every situation to Khalistan, like Shubh came to in Bombay for the controversy. If any कोई भी बंदा पंजाबी हुंदा ना ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਨਾਲ.
ट्रूडो ने इंडिया पे एलिगेशन लगाया, राइट, एंड नाउअडेज इंडिया ट्रूडो पे एलिगेशन लगा रहा है दैट ही केम टू इंडिया व्हाइल लाइक G20, राइट, सो दैट टाइम ही वाज लाइक not in his condition, he was like drug and all these things, so like they are putting Trudeau image down as well, and so that's not good for us.
We are in the starting phase of our commitment, so like not actually we are feeling unsettled, but at some point when we go out and saw something undisturbing, we really feel unsettled about that.
I'm happy too and sad also. It's very difficult to describe it, because as I am an international student, it's really hard to live without my parents. But on some point, I feel like I made a wrong decision. But after some time, I know it will gonna change that in a good decision. But for now, I feel.
The Sheridan College offers a very large number of courses, and one of the departments seems particularly useful and promising in today's environment. The students here are almost all Indian. Without doubt, this college would close down were it not for Indian students. As many as 320,000 Indian students were enrolled in Canadian colleges at the end of last year, bringing more than 10 billion Canadian dollars to the economy. It's not all bad for the students though. The college plaza just across from the college provides a buzzing social life in the evenings.
Everything is same. People are so peaceful just like before. So there nothing changed in my life. As I am working at Tim Hortons, so I meet many people. Like people say there are Asian people that are not good for them. But no, people are not saying anything.
No, there hasn't been any change. It's life as usual over here as of now. And there's nothing as such a concern over here or safety issues. Apart from that, I think most of the colleges have already shared links and other resources with the students if they feel unsafe, and if they are not comfortable, they can always reach out to their respective universities and colleges.
I think every college have provided securities and insurance to the students, and where I live I didn't find any difference. I live with a Punjabi family. I found it like a home. Political issues, I don't think there is no problems for students, as I don't find it that much issue or problem for me.
The greater fear is not immediate and political, it is long term, what they'll do with themselves when they're done with all this, whether they'll find settlement, whether they'll find jobs, and on those, the future does not look very promising at all.
I can say the particular problem over here is for accommodation and for job as well, because recession is going on a lot right now, and it's very hard for an international student to find a job over here. Apart from that, people over here are very great. Place is nice, weather is nice, so yeah, we enjoy it, but as well as some stuffs like this are unstable over here.
So like government can take any action for them, because we are not safe because we are not citizen as well, and we are not any PR, so we are only like study permit. So like anything can happen. Like they can say that a student can't be allowed in Canada anymore, and they can send back. As well as like there are a lot of students in India, they like dream to come to Canada, right? So if there any cancellation of the study permit as well as other things, so they have problem in there.
Sheridan College here in Brampton, just west of Toronto, a very Punjabi area, and to be honest, it's very Punjabi in there as well among the students, and there are of course as many different views and experiences of the present situation as there are students, but a lot of the students, if not hugely worried, do seem at the least a little apprehensive about what's going on.
Right now, because there are a lot of things are going on, and we have also fear that we need to go back to home, like how we will get to home, and like there are some news are running that they will send back students to India as well. So there are some certain things which we need to think about that.
Actually, I respected both countries, India and Canada, but India media is
Viewers, they say what goes around comes around. A few weeks back, the Congress was accusing the Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab of vendetta politics. You might remember all of that after the state police there arrested a senior Congress leader called Uppal in an alleged drugs and money laundering case that was also investigated by the Enforcement Directorate. That's a coincidence, isn't it, viewers? The AAP then had justified the arrest. Today, when the Enforcement Directorate arrested yet another Aam Aadmi Party leader, this time Member of Parliament Sanjay Singh, the AAP accused the centre of using the Enforcement Directorate, the same Enforcement Directorate, viewers, to settle political scores. When the shoe is on the other foot, the ED is clearly reliable for the Aam Aadmi Party, but when it pinches, the Enforcement Directorate becomes a caged parrot, to use a phrase that was once used by the Supreme Court to describe the CBI. But more